And I would like to introduce Natalie Foeller, and she's an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. That's right, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. And I first got to hear Natalie speak at convention last year when we all broke out into smaller groups. She spoke to the Jewels and did a fabulous job. And she is from Canada, right? Yes, Canada. But right now she's in Florida, where she's winter. You winter in Florida. Where'd you go? There. I have to figure this out. How do I get it so it only shows you?
Once I start talking, well, you can have what's called speaker view at the top, gallery view or speaker view.
Okay. Okay, I've got it on speaker view. Okay, so we are excited to have you tonight, Natalie, and she's going to talk to us about building your business with boldness.
Okay.
If you don't mind giving us a little bit of background, I know that I've heard you speak a couple times, and that you've been in network marketing before, and are friends with Alec. That's correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'll give you a little bit of background. I'm a nurse by profession. In 1994, I started my first venture into network marketing. Like a lot of people, I just kind of fell into it. I was referred to some products by a doctor I went to see in Toronto, Ontario, and they happened to be products that came from a network marketing company, but I didn't know that for several months. I just went every month and had an appointment, and I would buy some supplements from them. Then it was a nurse that I worked with, another nurse, who said her husband, who was a physician, you could set up an account. It's like $50. You'll get a wholesale account, and you can be buying these products at quite a savings. And that's what I did. But I also put a notice up at work, at the health department where I worked, to let them know that I had access to these products at wholesale if anybody wanted them, because for the months that I'd been on them, I was talking a lot about what I was learning. And I would go to the doctor's office with an order from people in the clinic. So my first experience was literally putting up a sign saying, if you want to order, here's a 1-800 number, there's my ID. And what happened is I earned a check over $1,000. And I was floored because there had been so many sales going in. My husband was a CPA. He was totally against network marketing. And so I didn't even tell him I had done this. But money talks to men, especially accountants, because when that first check came, it was $1,200. He said, geez, imagine if you started working this business. And that was how we started our business in 1994. I worked with that company for 4.5 years, and they were then sold. That's where I met Alfred, Alec, and Taro. Taro's stepdad, Ken Pontius, and his mom, Shirley, were the #1 income earners of the company. Alfred was #1 earner in Canada, and Alec worked corporately. So I got to know all of them. I left there in 1999. They were all still there at the time. I left in 99 because the company had been sold. It didn't take long that the rest of them were all gone as well. And I went into my second company called Melaleuca, where I spent 10 years. That's where I really learned the profession of network marketing. And I built quickly there. My first month, I actually earned over $20,000 in my very first month. Now, that's because of the type of comp plan they have. You can get a lot of money in bonuses. Their comp plan is nothing compared to ours, except there's some upfront money for big builders. I earned over $400,000 in my first year with that company. I built really well. It just wasn't a culture. The company was not the culture I wanted to be in, and it changed dramatically over the decade I was there. So although I was still making a lot of money, I walked away. Now, you don't need to do that in Plexus, one, because you never want to, because we have this amazing culture and comp plan. But in that company, you couldn't even sell your business. So I either had to stay or walk away. I was in the company a whole year before I realized I didn't even own my own business. And therefore, if I left, I couldn't sell it. So I left Melaleuca, and I went to my third company after 10 years. And they have amazing products, terrible comp plan. Took me a few months to figure that out. However, due to circumstances, because I ended up in a lawsuit with Melaleuca, I will tell you that the good news is I beat them at the Supreme Court. They're bullies, and they'd sued hundreds of people. I was the only one who took it through. my husband and I on principle. I mean, we drained our bank accounts, but we fought them for 5 years and took them right to the Supreme Court, and we won. Unfortunately, my husband very unexpectedly passed away November 2013, and the decision by the Supreme Court didn't happen until March 2014. But all that said, in September 2012, I hadn't really been building for a few years because my lawyer kept saying, you know, don't be building a big business. If you lose, then they can take your income. But in June 2012, I turned 50. September 2012, after a vacation that we took to celebrate my birthday, we said, you know, we're going to lose that memory of how to recruit and how to train if we don't start working again. We hadn't done anything for 3 years, just lived off the income that we had created. We had a good life, but, you know, we couldn't continue with that until, forever if we didn't start creating some extra income. So September 2012, I really started to look for a business, look for a company. And I made several phone calls to top income earners. You may know the names of some of them. Orrin Woodward with Mona V, Jordan Adler from Send Out Cards, Ken Cito at Nucerity. I made calls to some of the top income earners to say, this is the criteria I'm looking for. And some of these people were people I worked with when I sat on a committee with the American Network Marketing Professional Association, some people I got to know. Orrin Woodward, I actually visited his home as I was doing an evaluation across the country on different companies. And he lives here in Florida, Port St. Lucie, Florida. So I found these people who nobody recommended Plexus until my girlfriend, who was #1 income earner in Send Out Cards in Canada, happened to stop by that day. And I said, I was just on the phone with Jordan Adler, #1 income earner in the United States, and I'm looking for a business. And she said, Natalie, call Alfred, call Tara and Alec, talk to them about Plexus. I think this is the company that you're looking for. Now, I knew they were in business. I just didn't realize that they were really starting to do something. Now, in September 2012, there were only 14 emeralds and above. There were only 14. They were doing $2 million a month, and it was all in Louisiana and Mississippi. But I was excited by the story they told me, the vision they had, and the fact that they were doing so well in 2 of the poorest states in the United States. That excited me. And then when I looked at the comp plan, I mean, I hardly slept that night. I know comp plans well. And I looked at this comp plan, I thought, this is a crazy comp plan where somebody who doesn't even build a business but has a big customer base can generate a significant income. So that got me excited. Unfortunately, a week after we signed up, we did find out my husband's cancer had metastasized and started in 5 days of treatment a week. He did end up passing away a little over a year later. It wasn't the cancer that got him. So my first year in the business, I didn't build the way I normally build. And I don't want to make excuses. I have 2 emerald positions now, and I haven't built with the gusto that I'm capable of building with, but I'm also at a different stage in my life at 53, having no dependent children anymore. I have a good life with 2 emerald positions. I have a good life with that. But after being at the Jewel training in Atlanta, I realized that I really need to step up my game if I want people on my team to step up their game. And I realized that I need to set some new goals. And what we're talking about, building with boldness, is probably one of the things that has allowed me over the years to build the 3 previous companies to 6-figure incomes, because I've always had that personality. Probably less so now in Plexus than I did in the previous year, just because of where I'm at in my life and circumstances. So let's just talk, first of all, what do we mean when we say build with boldness? When I talk about building with boldness, I don't mean a negative thing like a bold person, but by boldness, I mean confidence. Somebody who's convicted, somebody who's they're so sure of themselves, they leave no room for anybody to have doubt. Because if you remember that, if you always keep in mind that if somebody's skepticism, and we know we meet skeptical people all the time, if somebody is more skeptical than you are convicted, if they're more skeptical than you are confident, who's going to win? It's going to be the skeptical one. So you need to be more convicted, more confident than any prospect you're going to be in front of. Because you also know that people don't follow you because of what you do. They follow you because of why you do it and who you are. People don't follow followers, they follow leaders. And people want to be led. People don't like to admit that. But they want to follow the path of somebody who seems to know what they're doing. Even if you're only one step ahead of them, even if you are only one 15-minute training ahead of them, they'll follow you. And that comes from having that posture that I know what I'm doing. And if I don't know it all, I'm figuring it out. I'm working on it. I'll get the answers. Don't worry. If I don't know the answer, give me 15 minutes. Give me half an hour, and I'm going to get that answer for you. So if you do remember that people follow why you do something. So when you start talking about the business, if you're doing it with boldness, you're talking about why you do Plexus. You speak from the heart, because people's decisions are made by their limbic brain, and their limbic brain is the emotional part of the brain. It's how they feel when you're talking to them. What does it spur in them? Not the intellectual side of them, the feeling side of them, the side of them that gives them the warm and fuzzies, or gives them inspiration, or allows them to dream. That limbic brain. And you don't inspire thinking out of the limbic brain or reaction from the limbic brain when you speak to their head. You really need to speak to their heart. And so that comes when you start talking about why you do Plexus. And also, people follow people if they can if they believe in why they're doing something. If they see themselves doing it for the same reasons you're doing it, they want to be a part of you. They will fight to the end if they believe what you believe. But just Plexus is our vehicle. And so trying to sell somebody strictly on the benefits of Plexus isn't going to inspire somebody necessarily to do anything more than be a customer, perhaps. Because they might get that intellectually, well, I could use these products and they might make a difference in my health. But if you want to move them to the business, then you want to share why you're doing it with confidence. You need to tell them what you're looking for in somebody, why you think you're a good person for them to follow. And it's probably one of the hardest things, especially when somebody's new in the business, because they think, gosh, I really don't know anything, which is, of course, why you bring in your even bolder enroller, leader, sponsor, mentor, whomever you're really working with, because they can bring some of that posture and that confidence to the meeting. And the new person looking at it will say, well, maybe Rebecca doesn't have it all figured out. She's only been here 2 weeks. Boy, but her enroller working, the three of us working together, we could really do something. So that's the first thing. So you want to be bold in your thinking. So that means your quiet time when you're sitting, be really bold with how you think about what you're going to do with this business and where you're going to go. Be bold with it. Be bold with your vision. Be bold with your words. Be bold with your actions. Because that kind of person people want to associate with. Now, I often talk about, and Rebecca heard me talk about this at convention, I talk about the difference between the art and science of building the business. The science is understanding how to do a presentation, being able to explain the comp plan. When somebody has questions about the product, you can do that. You can be good at the science and not attract anybody to really build the business. All of you know people. Or you may be that person who says, I know these products inside out. I can explain the comp plan. Why am I not getting people to follow me? And so over here, she doesn't know things the way I do. What is it that gets people following her? And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're good at the art of doing the business. The art is the ability to gather people, to inspire people. The art is being the kind of personality that somebody wants to be around. You're fun, you smile a lot, you're kind, you lead with your heart. That kind of leadership attracts people to want to be around you. When you think about the fact that this is a volunteer business, often done after our full-time job, looking after our children. So people don't have a lot to give after all of those things. But if you're somebody that fuels them, that energizes them because of your personality, then they find that time outside of their very busy schedule. They want to be around you. They want to be part of a fun team. They like the fact that you elevate their thinking, you expand their thinking, you give them hope. Those things are the art of leadership, and they're as important as a matter of fact, probably more important than the science of leadership, the science of being able to explain things, the science of understanding the how-tos and the whys and the whats. That's why I say to people, just learn to be a good friend, learn to comment and be kind and drop in a card to somebody, or, you make brownies and somebody on your team loves the brownies you make. It goes a long way. It goes a long way for you to be able to just drop off 2 brownies or 4 brownies to somebody and say, hey, I was thinking of you. I know you love these brownies. It's amazing how some of those kind things, and those are, people don't realize, but those are the kinds of things that's really the art of leadership. I love the expression that people don't remember what you do or what you say, but they certainly remember how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And that all goes into that whole business of the art of being a good leader. So, but also having bold leadership means you're a responsible leader. That means that you are going to do things in integrity. You are, it's not just doing things right, but it's doing the right things. So that's part of being a bold leader. You're a committed leader. That means, you don't fall short of doing your posts. You don't not show up on places where people expect you. Being a committed leader means that your team knows that no matter what's going on in your life, obviously there's huge events that might make you have to step back a little bit, but you've got systems in place to look after them. You show up. They know they can count on you always, no matter what. That's a bold leader. A level C leader is the person who she's in and she's out. She's not in a very good mood. She has a headache a lot. She's tired. Her person cancels, so she doesn't show up. You don't want to be a level C leader. You want to be a bold level A leader. You're responsible and you're committed, but you're also a creator. A bold leader is always thinking of new ideas. That doesn't mean it always works. You might do a promo and it just falls flat. It doesn't really create anything, but it's okay to fail. A bold leader says, I'm willing to try, and I'll try again, and I'm going to try again, and I will get it right, but it's okay to fail. A bold leader goes in knowing that it's going to be trial and error. Because if you're afraid of what people might think if it doesn't work, then you try nothing at all. Trust me, I've done lots of promos. I've done lots of things that don't really work, ideas that don't really work. 2 weeks later, nobody really remembers that anyway. So, be creative, be a creator, be responsible, be committed. I pulled off something, and you've heard this quote, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Just speaking the words of your decisions, just speaking the words of what you plan on doing brings power. And that's what you need to do before the action. So here were a couple action steps to help you become this sort of more bold leader.
Okay. I'm taking notes here.
Okay. One is recognizing that you have flaws and strengths. When you recognize it, what we're saying is bold leaders have a lot of self-awareness. And that's just the other way of saying it. We're self-aware of our strengths and we're self-aware of our weaknesses. It also means that by recognizing that, we're going to look for people who compliment us. We're going to find the people. I'm not a really good technical person. I sure don't know how to really do Facebook, and I'm not going to take responsibility to teach my people how to build a business through Facebook. It's just not something that I know very well. But I know how to find the people who do and help train the people with what to do with Facebook. Number 2, keep really clear priorities. A bold leader knows how to keep their priorities clear. We have plans. A bold leader has a plan, and they're not just reacting. Trust me, after being in this weekend and doing the testing that I did when I was away, I will tell you that this is something I really need to work on. I tend to be a reactor rather than having my really clear schedule and letting people. I now have a calendar. I don't know if you guys, I've always had a calendar that I carry. I now have an online calendar, learned from some of the jewels. I wrote this incredible online calendar and give your key leaders access so they log in, and I put all my available time now I can show you my calendar because I think I can screen share. I can screen share. I can show you show you this calendar if you're not familiar with it. You guys may all know about this stuff because
I don't know it.
It is so cool. It's free, and you give your key level ones access, and they go and they schedule the 3-ways and conference calls right in there. You identify your available times. They go and schedule it. It's super, super cool. So keeping clear priorities. That means is you know what you need to accomplish. You get it in your calendar. It doesn't happen by chance. And you avoid those unimportant activities. You get them out of the way. You don't allow those distractions because you've got clear priorities. Number 3, speak up. Doesn't mean you're rude. Doesn't mean that you're boisterous. But you know you have something to say, and you're going to let people know, and you have an opinion. But they also know when to say it and when not to say it. It's not always appropriate. A bold leader knows the chain of command. You're not jumping over people and going, or jumping down below people. You don't really like your level 1, so you jump down to your level 2 or level 3, which of course we work with everybody, but they know the chain of command and they respect the chain of command, so they're not insulting people. They speak up, but they know that their words carry a lot of power, so they're discreet and they're careful with what they say. Number 4, they pair action with knowledge. They don't do things rashly. They apply the same sense of action to learning and due diligence as they do to their activity. They try to make sure that all their actions lead to success. So, they're careful with what they're doing, but they prepare for it. I think one of the biggest things, again, for me, and I'm speaking about me, I know that I need to be careful with my time. I know that when I get on a 3-way, I shouldn't spend an hour just jibber jabbering, but sometimes it just being busy makes me feel like I'm working. And I can go have lunch and say, well, I worked for a couple hours today. But I also know that doesn't make sense. So I have to pair my action with what I know. And that is, I keep 3-ways to a reasonable time. If it's just product questions, I answer the questions, I get off. If they're business people, I answer their business questions, do a little bit of relationship building, and hopefully I'm off in a reasonable time, because it's not the right message for them to think, gosh, every time I do a 3-way with her, she spends an hour talking. So pair your action with knowledge. Do your homework. Get prepared. Get knowledgeable. Because that's really important. We're in a learning business, so you want to be learning all the time.
And we have lots of tools.
Oh, my gosh.
Tons of YouTubes. When I started, there was nothing.
Not only are there lots of tools, we are in a company that all of these great leaders share their wisdom, share their training. It's just crazy to me. Tomorrow morning, one of my front lines has Melissa Eichenhorst doing a 3-way with her. We're not connected in business at all, but because of the prospect coming from a company that Melissa came from, she's willing to help out. We do these different trainings for one another. I love all the YouTube channels that people open and share with everybody. They create documents and trainings, and everybody shares it. So there is so much. I say to people all the time, I don't need you to give you a list of training. Just go to YouTube. Just commit to spending 30 minutes a day listening to people. I just give them some key people that I want them to follow. I don't really even have to do a lot of that training because it's all out there.
It's all out there.
Number 5, accept the value of failure. Nobody likes to fail, but bold leaders know that they have to take risks. And when they take those risks, there's going to be failure. That's just the way it is. But they understand, too, that through each of those experiences comes something they can learn from and take time to reflect and learn from that experience. But they accept the value of failure, but number 6, they make the most of small wins. And I think that's, in this kind of business, it's really important. It means that it's part of our job to acknowledge the successes, and we are showing through duplication. When our people see us recognize our level 1s for their first enrollment, their first customer, going to silver and making it a big deal, that they're going to know to do that with their people. So acknowledging all of the successes along the way. I think, and I have to work on this. I have to work on lots of things, but making sure that I take time, because sometimes, especially when it's somebody, and I'll tell you something I did, as horrible as this sounds, and I didn't mean it the way it sounded, but a few weeks ago, I've got this dynamo person in the business. She's on level 2, but I work with her really closely. She has had tremendous success in the network marketing industry. She's made a 6-figure income. And she was so excited that in a week she went silver. Now, I thought she should have gone silver in an hour. Like, I didn't get why she was so excited by this. And instead of just taking at least a moment and celebrating the fact she went silver, because what I didn't take into consideration was that she's had a lot of struggles that I didn't really know about, and that she'd lost a lot of confidence along the way, and that although she had success, she didn't have the confidence she would ever do that again. In fact, she began to believe that she really didn't deserve the success she had. It was really because of some key leaders that she brought to the team that did it. And there's no doubt they were stronger than her, but she still was the one who attracted them to her team. And that, you got to acknowledge that that's still a huge accomplishment. So what did I do? I said, well, good for you. I still don't know why it took you so long to get there. I said, you should, in my opinion, I said it like this. I can't believe I did this. In my opinion, I said, I expected you'd be gold in a week. And then I'd made it even worse. And I said, I don't know maybe I had a couple glasses of wine or something. I don't know what I was doing, but I said, you know what? You're stronger than me. And I really believe that. I said, you're stronger than me. And I took 2 positions to senior gold in 30 days. And you're excited about going silver in a week. Now, she didn't say too much to me, but she sure did to her enroller, my level 1. And I felt horrible. Now, we talked about it after that, and she was able to say that in reflection, she took it as a compliment that my expectations for her, because my level 1 said, I've never heard Natalie talk like that. Natalie is normally super excited when somebody just takes a whole month to go silver. She's excited, and she even went on our team page and showed these congratulations I had made. Look, she gets so excited about this. She said, are you sure she said those things? That doesn't sound like her. Well, in the end, she was able to realize that I said that because I did expect so much more from her, because I saw her as that much better. But what I did was terribly wrong, because that was a big accomplishment for her because of her experiences over the last few years that I didn't know about at all. All I heard about on the 3-way when I was introduced was what an accomplished networker she was. And then I knew of somebody who knew her, and I talked to them, and they talked about, what a great speaker she was and how much fun she was. And I didn't know all the other stuff. So, make the most of small wins. And even if you think it's not really that big, maybe we have to remember for them, that small victory may be a huge victory. And that wasn't very good of me. When you're a bold leader, you really know there's a couple things. One, we understand it's easier to build fast than slow. And that is a fact, guys. It's easier to build fast than it is to build slow, because building slow feels like you're pushing a rope all the time. But building fast, you're kind of running just to keep up. And that comes after a season of imbalance. That might be a week of crazy recruiting, 2 or 3 or 4 months of really hard recruiting, and you've put a bunch of level 1s in your business, and you've created momentum. But a bold leader knows that we need to create momentum at some point. That doesn't mean all the time. It doesn't mean you're always in that phase of working hard and recruiting. But bold leaders know that at some point you need to take some action beyond, I'm going to enroll 1 this week, and then maybe in a couple more weeks I enroll another one. But you have that intentional where you are in that zone that you're building your team, you're calling people, and you're telling people, you are taking this to the top, you're putting your A team together. I need 20, 30 minutes to show you what I'm doing. It may or may not be for you. That's okay. You're going to know what I'm doing, and you'll be able to refer some people if somebody comes along the way. You may think of me. You're not asking them to make a commitment. You're just asking them to give you some time, but you do it with that strong confidence. You're in a rush. You're urgent. It's urgent, and people will kind of sense that from you. So bold leaders know that they have to build momentum, that they need to have some sustained leadership, and that comes from from doing some of that work. That was number 7. So what I would suggest to you is what I started in the beginning when I said, people follow why you do it, and they follow why you do it and who you are. So remember, the person you present to them is who they know they're going to be following. Ask yourself the question, what kind of leader do you want to follow? And if that's the kind of leader you want to follow, are you presenting those qualities and characteristics to your prospects? And if not, practice. Ask your enroller, what are some of the strengths that you see I have, and what are some of the areas that you think I can work on? And sometimes, and I'll tell you, I have a gal, she's going senior gold this month, but I think she'll be an emerald by Hawaii. The reason I say that is her learning curve has been astronomical. I asked her if it was okay to talk with her and be candid with her, because she had so many great skills, but she was doing things like, when she talked, she would say, and everything. I was going to the store and everything, and when I met with her, she was running a little late and everything. I mean, it didn't even make sense. This and everything was like at the end of every sentence, it seemed. So one time, I decided in a short conversation to record her. We counted her saying in 3 minutes and everything 14 times. And I played it for her. She had no idea. And I said, you lose people even though you have all this great information, when you're speaking, even doing a testimonial or talking for a couple minutes, I said, people can't stop thinking about how many times you said and everything. And she stopped from that moment on. It's as soon as she told me that her mom, not her husband, but her mom, many, many, many times pointed that out to her, but she didn't realize. But she knew that I was telling her for the good of her business, and I wasn't family, so she was going to listen to me a little bit more. So I told her, there's not a lot of things you have to change, but that's one of them. That's just one of these little things. If you could just change, it can make a big difference. Her confidence and speaking went way up. She started getting all these incredible compliments about her speaking ability, because her speaking was good. It was just lost in her in this terrible habit. Just like, and I just used the word like. I had to talk to my daughter, who would use the word like in almost every single sentence. She was using it constantly. And it was a hard habit for her to break, but I said, you don't sound all that sophisticated when you use the word like in every single sentence. But that's just a little, that's just a little tiny thing. I don't even know why I'm going on that. But so bold leaders, they understand that people follow why they do it and who they are, not what they do. So lead with who you are, lead with why you're doing the business. When I built a really big business, we were moms on a mission. I was younger, I was in my 30s. I had a team called Moms on a Mission, and everywhere I went, I talked about how I am helping moms stay home and raise their children while contributing financially to their family. And that's what people do. That's what they came to me for, not because I did Melaleuca, but because I was a mom on a mission to help other moms.
Yeah, and I think you talked about that at convention. Yep. Moms.
Yep. That was my big thing. We had one of my groups broke away, and they became Moms in Motion. Mm-hmm. And because moms, the MOM was sort of the acronym for Moms on a Mission. Mm-hmm. What was some of the other one? Moms on, I can't remember, but there were all these breakaway things that sort of happened. But Moms on a Mission was, that's what drove us. People came to us because they wanted what we had. They wanted to be home with our kids. So just think about that. Now I've been a snowbird since I was 47. I've gone south for 6 months of the year. I now tend to work more with people who are preparing for retirement or who are retired, because I'm in a different stage in my life now. So I love going to the meetings with all these young people who are in totally different phase in their life than me. And I'm even in a different phase than a lot of people my age, because I chose network marketing years ago. I've made a 6-figure income with network marketing for years. So I was able to start my life as a retiree at a much younger age than most people were able to do it. But that's who I now work with. There's lots of people who are at my age and they want to be retired, or they want to get retired sooner, and without doing something like this, they can't.
You need a new acronym.
I know. I've got to figure. If you can think of one, Rebecca, I need it.
I'll try to think of one, because I'm there too. I need that. Well, no, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you talking about stepping out in boldness. There have been things that I have been uncomfortable doing. And I think to be a good leader, you have to be bold and overcome the things that you're afraid of. One of them was Zoom meetings. I don't know why. I just had a fear of doing Zoom meetings, and I really don't know why. I don't like being photographed or videoed. So
You're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. But it was just one of my things. And even though I knew that my team needed it, and I knew that I needed to do it, I paralyzed myself. I thought about it too much, to the point where it was like I just couldn't even move and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I finally sat down and I made a plan, and I scheduled a bunch of wonderful jewels to come on here and be my guests, and it has been fabulous for my team. So
that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you overcame that.
I did. I overcame. I do have someone that sent me a message that wanted to know what the name of the calendar is.
Oh yeah. I said I was going to show that to you. Just a minute. I'll do that really quickly, and I'll show that to you.
And you said the Jules training were being tested?
Oh, it's not really. Testing is not the right word, and I'm not supposed to tell you, so
okay.
I don't want to give that away.
I don't know.
This calendar, it's called teamup.com.
Okay.
And this is what's so cool about this calendar is I'm going to just show you. I'm the administrator of it. So I set up, if you see on the left-hand side, I have color-coded 3-way calls. Pink is available for booking. Red is my personal time. When I'm doing my calls out to my ambassadors, I've scheduled that time. Now watch this. I give access to my key people. Let me go to sharing. And if I can learn this, trust me, it's really easy. So these are some of my key frontline people that I've given a URL or access to. So let's say I click on the URL I give Cindy. Now we're going to see the calendar from her perspective. All of a sudden, the red here is locked. There's a little lock on it. If she clicks on it, she can't do anything with it. But watch what happens when she clicks on my personal time, or my available time, the stuff that's in pink or purple. Now she can actually go in. She could type in, since it's already passed, that was yesterday, type in help with prospecting call with Cindy. And then she changes it from available to, I'm doing a 3-way call. Change it. And now that available call has changed, and it's now I'm helping with a prospecting call with Cindy. They change it. They can't change my personal time, but they can change my 3-way time. And I leave the 3-way time open so that if they need to cancel it, if Cindy said, the call's canceled, she goes back on the calendar, she remakes it available, removes the title, says it's available again, and opens it up to the team, to the few people that I've given access to see.
Wow. I love that.
It's really cool. And then you can look at it by the month. So my coaching calls with people, that I've sort of built in, but I've got my personal things. On Friday, I golf. I play pickleball. Monday mornings is a pickleball league. I put my personal stuff in there, and then I build around that. Isn't that great?
That is great. I love that. I can't wait to learn about that.
It took me like 5 minutes. And what's really neat is, so you can decide, and I'll show you. In fact, I'll just for you to, I forgot I'm not in as an administrator right now. Let me get back in as an administrator. Let's go to sharing. I'll just show you one kind of neat thing. Let's say, let me go back. Let's say I decided that I didn't want people to see my personal time. Mm-hmm. And I'll just take Julie here. I can say, okay, my personal time now, I don't want them to be able to read it. I actually want it to be not shared. Now I'll save that. And let me get out of here. Okay, let me now take the link. Oh, sorry, just a minute. Sharing. I got to close out of here. It's because I have this, the screen with you guys on it. I can't see everything as well. Okay, so let me go into Julie's link, and all the red personal time has now been deleted. She can't see it.
So she doesn't know you're playing pickleball.
She doesn't know I'm playing pickleball. She doesn't know that tomorrow I booked the day off because I'm flying back to Canada. All my personal time. So you may not feel comfortable having your personal time on there. I want them to know that's personal time, and I don't have to write any details if I don't, but I can just block it off. But you can choose, if there's things that you're putting in your calendar and you want nobody to see, then, but you still want to put it in your calendar because you need to see it. You can just block it from being shared.
Okay, I like
that. So if that's the night you're booked to have some romance with your husband and you really don't think you should be putting it out there for everybody to see, then you can do that.
Take it off. Sure.
All right. Well, if there's not anything else, I will, I better go back and change Julie, or she's going to wonder what I did to her, what I did to her access here.
There's an example.
Yeah, so it's pretty read-only. And you can also do read-only with details, read-only with no details. So you can actually put details in that only you can see, and all they can do is see that you've got personal time. So that's the other option. So it's a great free little tool.
That is great. I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go ahead and get mine started before I get to the training.
Yeah, and this wasn't introduced at the training. It was just something that we were all in little groups kind of sharing stuff. Okay. And it was like I was sitting with a couple people who said, really? You don't use Team Up like it was everybody knows about it. Well, I didn't know about it.
I didn't know about it.
So, yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I better pack, or I'm going to have trouble getting out of this house at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Well, we really appreciate your time. We appreciate your wisdom. Thank you so much for coming on and training my team tonight. I appreciate it so much. And we look forward to seeing you at convention.
Look forward to seeing you as well. And I'll have you on a training with my team soon.
Okay. I would love to. And have a safe flight tomorrow.
Okay. Night.
All right. Bye, Natalie.
Bye.
All right, team, if you can just stay on for just 1 second. That was wonderful. Love Natalie. I just have one thing that I want to ask you guys. Next Monday night on the 15th, our special guest is Ame Darling. And she let me just leave it open to our team what we wanted her to talk about. So what do you guys think? I mean, I love all of her product knowledge. So what do you guys think?
I would like product information on the weight loss products, because some of the people that are trying them, they're still having trouble losing weight. And they've probably been on the products maybe 2 or 3 months. And so if she could help me troubleshoot that. I've had one girl that used Slim and X Factor vitamin, and she's gotten to her goal weight just using those 2 products. And so Judy and I were talking the other night. We wondered if there was a link to that and helping your body absorb things, better.
Well, definitely it does with the aloe in it, but I will ask her that. I talked with her at the leaders retreat, and she said that what they had kind of discovered is that for some people it takes like almost 6 months for people's bodies to change. So maybe I'll ask her to talk about that too. And I actually have somebody that happened with. She took the products for 6 months and she didn't lose any weight. And she called me and she wanted to cancel her order. And I was so finally, after troubleshooting a lot with her, we finally canceled. And 2 weeks later, she sent me a text and she said, well, I kept taking my stuff because I still had some. And now all of a sudden I've lost weight. So it was kind of, for her, it was that 6 month mark that things changed. I'm sorry, my daughter's calling me. Taylor, I'm on a Zoom call, babe. Can you call Daddy? Okay, I'll call you right back, okay? What is it, Taylor?
I'm Taylor.
No, you're not spending the night. You're not spending the night. You're just not. Okay, bye, babe. Yes. Life. That's my 15-year-old. She pushes everything. as far as she possibly can.
Rebecca, I think that'd be really good to have. We know that it can take a long time for people to lose weight, but to hear Ame say it could build belief in our ambassadors, and then they could build better belief in their customers.
Okay.
So I think that would be a really good thing to talk about.
Okay, we'll talk about that. So we'll do product with her. And then the week after that, we have Erin Akey on. She's a nutritionist, and she's going to talk about sugar. I think we've done business now for a couple weeks, so maybe we'll switch over and we'll do some more product and nutrition, things like that for a couple weeks. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. I'm going to go on teamup.com and get my calendar.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on tonight, you guys.
Thanks,
All right.
Rebecca.
Have a good evening,
Have a good
Rebecca.
night. We'll go deal with my daughter.
Have fun.